Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. What's the date today? October 23rd, 2024. Did you guys hear the latest Kamala Harris gaffe? Now, this is shocking. She's at this rally, a rally at which about half the people are attending compared to Trump's rallies. And someone in the crowd proclaims the name of Jesus Christ as King. And her response seems to be that they were at the wrong rally. Now, of course, they're trying to spin this. They're saying, oh, she wasn't necessarily responding to that person. And this is part of the drama, right? This is actually a Snopes story trying to massage the truth out of what was obvious and what obviously happened. You can hear the guy clearly in this clip saying Jesus Christ is King. And then look at how long of an article. This is how you can tell that they're trying to cover something up, because why would it take all of this to explain that maybe this isn't what we heard? You don't know what you're hearing. They've got different view angles and this and that. She wasn't necessarily talking to them. Let's listen to a piece of this here. This is pretty crazy.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended.
There you heard, Lord, that was the tail end of it. Now, other people had filmed this and were closer to the guy who said Jesus is Lord. And it's at this precise moment when she's saying these precise words. And right after he says the word Lord, the name Lord.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
That's when she says, you're at the wrong rally. Now, of course, this is going to enrage Christians who are Democrat. I can't imagine a single Christian that's still Democrat. I mean, the left has shown their hand when it comes to their belief. They don't. They think that it's all one big melting pot and people should be able to believe what they want, which essentially that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Those are called false gods, right? There's a whole Bible talking about false gods. So I don't understand how people on the left can still be a Democrat and also be a Christian. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, the right is no better because they are fake Christians. And we've demonstrated that. In fact, the topic of today's show, we're going to break down the legacy of McDonald's, and specifically Ronald McDonald, because I found some really creepy stuff. I went through about 100 vintage Ronald McDonald's ads. I'm going to show you probably about 10 of them today. Really creepy stuff and metaphors directly connected to Trump. What are you talking about, Casey? Well, vintage ads of flying cars. Yes, Ronald McDonald had a flying car. And he had McDonald Land, made great again by basically, they were essentially almost giving away McDonald's in the late 60s, early 70s. I'm going to show you how they were able to feed a family of 4 for $4 in McDonald Land. So here's what's creepy. I scheduled yesterday's show, as you guys know, those of you that are paying attention. You saw the announcement for yesterday's show. You saw the title. It was about McDonald's. I know Days of Noah went on later in the day to talk about McDonald's, but we showed the title of these McDonald's ads. And no sooner had we done this, 5 hours later, after I posted that, guess what broke in the news? Now, I didn't know this was going to happen, but again, we follow what the Holy Spirit tells us. And look at this. let's refresh this page so you can see that this is true. And 16 hours ago, 15 hours ago, E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's quarter pounder. What are the odds of this? And what are the odds of this happening on the heels of Trump going to McDonald's and working there? Now, let's read a little bit of this because there may be clues, right? Now, it's not even that I believe this story. This could all just be fake. But what are the odds that this is a thing now? Wow. Deadly E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's quarter pounders sickens 49 people in 10 states. And there's the time. Yesterday at 5:38 p.m. I think I posted mine at about 11 a.m. Look at this. Whoa. You see that? Illions and billions served. They removed the B. So they made a bunch of people ill. Illions. Whoa. And this is a photo that they put up from June 25th. That's 88 days after the 88th day of the year. In 2019 is where this photo is, how it's captioned here. Illions. Wow. Let's read here. E. coli food poisoning linked to McDonald's quarter pounder. Sickened 49 people in 10 states. One person died, 10 were hospitalized. The death was reported in an older person in Colorado. One child has been hospitalized with severe kidney complications. Infections were reported between September 27th and October 11th in Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Oregon, Utah, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Now, there's only one way that this could happen. And those of us that did work at McDonald's know this, because the quality control with this stuff is pretty limited in terms of, not limited, but pretty specific. And there aren't too many ways that this can happen, okay? Because it's chain of custody when it comes to these burgers and how they're made. Everything's cooked to a certain temperature. It's very difficult for a hamburger to get E. coli, okay? Because of how they're prepared, how they're packaged. In fact, the only way I can think of that this would happen is that the E. coli was somehow on the outside of the packaging or put there on purpose in some way, shape, or form. Let me go back in here into the chat, because I used to cook the burgers. I worked the window. I did a little bit of everything. I can't think of anything I didn't do when I was working at McDonald's in high school. And they cook the burgers back behind. It goes under this. Well, this is how it used to be done in the late 80s. I don't know how they do it now. It could be different. I don't know. But we had a Teflon pad with these pull down ovens on the grill. You'd place the patties on the surface. Usually it was a 9 count, if I remember correctly. And we would play with the patties, yes. And we would grab them, 5 in one hand, 4 in the other, and see who could stack and place the patties the fastest. Some of you are laughing right now. We're getting a tutorial on how to make a McDonald's hamburger today from Casey, of all people. And we would place the 9 on the thing, right? On the grill as fast as we could. It was like slapping dominoes or something is the best way I could describe it. And then we would do that, and then you pull down the lid, and it's on a timer. It brings the burger to the exact temperature. Meanwhile, the buns are in the toaster. Same thing. You take the buns, you stack them on a pan, slam them in the toaster, which pulls down, and then the buns come out first, and we had these squeeze bottles, right? Wow, I guess the squeeze bottles could be contaminated with something, but everything's in a certain space, and the cooks stay in the cook area. You don't really leave. It's like you're essentially a prisoner there for your shift, because if you leave, you could get contaminated. You could grab something. You could take a rag and like clean something and not realize that it had E. coli in it. But typically, the source of E. coli either comes from the bathroom, right? So if one of the cooks went to the bathroom and then grabbed, the squeeze bottle with, and the squeeze bottle things kind of look like what you would use for caulking, right? We all know what those are. When you caulk a bathroom or something, there's like a gun, right? And that's what those squeeze bottles look like. And there was some for the ketchup, some for the mustard. There were pickles. I guess the pickles could have got, well, there's a bunch of ways you could get E. coli contamination, I guess. Now that I think about it, now that I walk through the process, the pickles, they're in like a bucket though, and you do scrab with your fingers, So yeah, I suppose if a cook went to the bathroom and then came back and kept cooking, they could essentially accidentally contaminate something. But how did this happen across all of the different McDonald's? That's the thing. I mean, that's just like saying 19 hijackers from 5 different airports were able to take down 3 planes, right? It's impossible. Like, there's something that's gonna go wrong. So how did all this happen across all the different McDonald's? What they're suggesting is that it's in the meat, right? But that can't happen if the meat is brought up to a certain temperature, unless they're undercooking the meat, and they don't undercook the meat here. Now, I can tell you this. When I was in France, I went and got a hamburger at McDonald's. Anytime you order hamburgers in McDonald's or any kind of beef in France, somebody tell me what happens when you order beef, like a hamburger in France. Somebody will know the answer to this. And then we'll keep going with the show here. Wow, right? What happens in France when you order a hamburger? Good morning, everybody. You think they turn the timers down? Well, that's a great theory. But each McDonald's they have a set timer. They wouldn't do that. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Yes, ain't buying it. When you go to France and you order a hamburger and you think you're going to get what you get in America, you do not get that. You get a rare piece of beef, which of course could have E. coli in it, right? Because it's not cooked. It's so rare. I remember when I took my kids back in the 2000s, they refused it. They're like, I'm not eating that. And I'm like, I don't blame you. And it was super expensive too. I think that hamburger back then was like $15 for just a piece of rare beef. It was tiny. So anyways, or 15 euro. So anyway, back to this. Now, what is going on with this E. coli outbreak? Well, there's obviously some kind of attack. And it's weird because basically Trump just promoted McDonald's. So make no mistake. I mean, you guys, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. After seeing, Trump working at McDonald's and him talking about French fries and salt, and then I was looking at all these vintage commercials. Like I said, I screened 100 commercials. I was this close to getting in my car, driving to McDonald's. I'm just being honest. This is how marketing works. It gets the experience in your mind that you remember from childhood, and it almost compels you to go and eat it. So make no mistake, the fact that Trump was doing that, there were millions of Americans that after seeing that probably went through the drive-through McDonald's. I bet you that it's actually, they could calculate it. They could probably look and go, wow, we had a boost. We had a boost after Trump went and worked at McDonald's. Like an additional million people went out and got hamburgers. So this is the danger of marketing. It's literally mind control. It's mind control. And we all know, for those of you that watch TV, I don't watch a lot of TV at all. I don't even have cable service here. I watch all my stuff through the internet. And this is where I do all my shows from and everything. But when I go and watch football at my friend's house, sometimes, guess what? There's all these food commercials. And it literally makes you hungry. It makes you want to go out and get food. So this is the danger of marketing. They call it freedom, they call it capitalism, but essentially this is what's making people obese. It's not specifically McDonald's fault. It's not specifically any restaurant's fault. It's the marketing that continues to put food in our faces all the time, making people hungry when they're not really hungry. And, it'd be neat to listen to the psychological aspect to all this and to actually delve into that and how the mind is actually affected by having food repeatedly put in front of it. It's kind of like those old cartoons that we used to watch as children, and they would show like the hungry wolf and everything he saw looked like food to him. Remember that? Well, it's the same thing with all this marketing. Now, let's keep going here. Let's get into some of this. So, hours after we scheduled the show for today, we had the E. coli outbreak. Now, as I went through these vintage commercials one at a time, I noticed a theme starting in the late 60s and early 70s. And McDonald's was essentially hailed as the budget fast food. So you're going to see that here in the way some of this plays out. The budget fast food, you could literally get a hamburger, fries, and a drink for under $1 in the early 70s. I couldn't even believe it as I was looking through this, and I was thinking to myself, okay, that same hamburger, drink, and fries is now going to cost you what, $6? And then I asked myself, have our incomes gone up 6 times? No, they haven't. Now, there's one ad I'm going to show you where they talk about basically being able to feed a family of 4 for $4. Wow. Now, Trump has tapped into this nostalgia, going back to the days when you could feed a family of 4 for $4. That's basically the core principle of his campaign, making America great again. There's also an ad in here that talks about you deserve a break today. That was a popular ad campaign, and it was all about saving money, making America great again. So you can see that the messaging is synonymous with Trump's campaign, which is why he went and got a job at McDonald's and made French fries. Now, there's even a flying car, just like the ones Trump is proposing. And I was wondering, where did he get the idea for this flying car? Well, apparently it was Ronald McDonald did it first. He had a flying hamburger car. Now, is this flying car thing going to happen? Well, keep your eyes on Elon Musk, because he's about the only person that I can imagine that would create a flying car. And if Trump becomes president, this could actually happen. So we've got McDonald Land also, which to me sounds a lot like a freedom city, where you can come and get a hamburger, fries, and a shake for under $1. Let's go ahead and get started through some of these ads. First of all, here's another aspect. You're going to notice this weird child grooming aspect to these earlier commercials. It wasn't so much in the later ones, but in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a grooming aspect. Here are some of the oldest Ronald McDonald's ads. Listen to this.
Well, hi! Isn't that McDonald's hamburger delicious?
Mom told me never to talk to strangers.
Well, your brother's right as always, but I'm Ronald McDonald. Give me a McDonald's shake.
So, because he's dressed in a clown outfit, you're allowed to talk to him. So, what did all the groomers do? Oh, let's just go out and get clown outfits. Unbelievable. Let's keep watching.
Well, you sound like Ronald.
Here, I'll prove it. I'll give you 3 more hamburgers.
Then he grabs hamburgers out of his lap. More cringe fest going on here. Now, this is the original Ronald McDonald. This is what he used to look like. But he has since changed, obviously, to the iconic modern figure of Ronald McDonald.
I know, you're not supposed to accept gifts from strangers either.
But you're no stranger. You really are Ronald McDonald.
You're no stranger. You really are Ronald McDonald. So a guy with a couple hamburgers in his lap was now able to go and pick up children. This is unbelievable. And then it gets all cringy here with this boy feeling all around Ronald McDonald's waist, trying to grab his buns.
McDonald, the hamburger happy clown. A McDonald's drive-in restaurant is his favorite place in town.
I couldn't even believe this. This is shocking. Now there's more.
Oh, what a beautiful day for fun. What would you like to do? Party! That's a wonderful idea. Let's see. What kind of food should we have? Great! I packed some right here. Let's see. McDonald's hamburgers? And some French fries? Don't they look delicious?
Now, the inference here's the more modern version of Ronald McDonald. As he's pulling out food out of the bag, guess what comes out next? Now, think of the implications of this. You're purchasing food, right? Watch this.
And some triple thick McDonald's shakes? Oh. Well, we can always make good use of that. Ah, here they are. Triple thick McDonald's shakes. Why, they're empty.
A child comes out of the purchased bag. Now, people were a lot more asleep back then. They had no idea what this really meant. And did you catch the umbrella just before this? We can make use out of this.
Hey, you sure can get a lot in these bags, can't you? I just invented this. My decision maker. I built it to help me decide which McDonald's food is best. I can never make up my mind.
Now we're going to fast forward through some of this because this is just a machine that tells him which item he should choose or decide. And then the machine eats everything. This is, I think, this is the Filet-O-Fish sandwich. I've got a montage of some more of these here.
Where quality starts fresh every day.
Hey, Ronald McDonald has just flown in on his flying hamburger to paint the golden arches.
So this is the flying hamburger, the flying cars. I mean, the metaphors are astounding. It's like a time warp.
Ouch! That's what Mr. Muscle gets for trying to be the boss. Hurry up, fellas, if you're going to finish before lunch. That's right.
Now, this reminds me of the wrestling meme, the wrestling aspect to Donald Trump. Here he's wrestling with a muscle man. He's not really wrestling with him, but it's like a skit, right?
Right, Ronald, send up the paintbrush. Good shot. No, not the paint. Oh, no. Well, at least Ronald is ready for his favorite lunch, a luscious McDonald's hamburger with ketchup, mustard, and tangy pickles. All on a toasted bun. Then a bag of crispy, fresh McDonald's French fries, golden brown, maybe a soft drink, or a thick chocolate shake. Boy, it's fun to go to McDonald's for lunch. Now, there goes Ronald and his flying hamburger.
You can't make this up, you guys. A flying hamburger.
Winging his way to another McDonald's, where it's always fun to eat. Look for the golden arches. Join your friends at McDonald's, the closest thing to home.
So long, boys and girls. But I'm having trouble getting started. Guess I better give her a push. Good thing I'm at McDonald's. I'm going to need some energy, and we know there's no better way than with a delicious McDonald's pure beef hamburger and a triple thick McDonald's shake. Really?
So it appears as though Ronald McDonald is also a magician, isn't he? He's able to create matter out of nothing. He's a MAGA magician.
Be great. Go together. Muscle builders, too.
McDonald's.
Did you notice how fast I got my food? There's no waiting at McDonald's, and am I glad I didn't have to dress up either. And now to get my flying hamburger started. Hey, wait for me. If you want to be strong like me, ask your mom and dad to take you to your kind of place for your kind of food. McDonald's. Remember, when you see my face, think of your kind of place. McDonald's.
Now, you saw the original McDonald's logo. It almost looked like two concentric circles, the tops of the circles in the letter M. And I'm going to have to dig into that. I'm going to write myself a note here because I believe that there may be some kind of archetypal symbol that looks like the M symbol. And I'll look into that after the show here today. And if I do find it, I'll do a follow-up show. Let's keep watching here. This is unbelievable.
Hamburgers at McDonald's are fun. McDouble hamburgers at McDonald's are double the fun.
So it's all about this doubling, isn't it? Which also is kind of synonymous with the symbol for M. The two arches together, the doubling, the twinning. Now, I put together this montage. Watch this.
The attraction of McDonald's for me is that it's so neat and clean. I wouldn't switch.
Now, what you just saw there was an abused child. If you don't believe me, he's billed as a fight promoter. Fletcher Fix. Like fixing the fight promoter. It says it right here in the caption. And they show the child with a black eye as if he's been boxing.
For me, it's that it's so neat and clean. I wouldn't switch.
I wouldn't switch. Now, here we get McDonald's land. And this is probably what the freedom cities are going to be like. People will hail Donald Trump as a hero if he's elected, and I believe he will be, because in freedom cities, you'll be able to get a hamburger for $1 or something. You know, it's going to make America great again. Now, this was 1969. This next one you're going to see here.
McDonald's, in McDonald's land, McDonald's, in McDonald's land, McDonald's.
So obviously, this is about the time they changed the logo to be the letter M more precisely.
If you've never been to McDonald's,
Now this one talks about the feed a family of four for $4. I couldn't even believe this. 1972. Look at where we've come. Look at where we've come. Now you can't even feed one person for $4.
you might be surprised to find that you can actually feed a family of four for under $4.
Sir, your change.
You deserve a break today.
Thank you.
So sorry about the sound. This is just how it was recorded. I'm trying to make sure that you guys are all right with that. Now, what is this? Well, these are the Fry Kids. Now, someone called this out because we had talked about the Fry Kids before, but they actually call them Fry Guys and Fry Girls. And then the overall term is Fry Kids. And they show that here. That's why I collected this clip.
Around like the Fry Kids do. You're doing the Fry step. It's fun for you. Fry Girls. Fry Guys.
So what's this about? Well, it was Trump's fascination with the French fries, right? He was a fry cook, and fries are children.
You'll hop all around like
Over here.
Get back those burgers.
Here's Ronald McDonald chasing the Hamburglar. Watch this.
Now catch me.
And here is Ronald McDonald cross-dressing as a woman, and listen to what he says. This stuff was pretty prominent. He literally, now this was 1994.
I'm gaining on them.
I'm gaining on them.
Bye-bye. I put together some really impressive deals.
And here is the slam dunk. This was 2002. And there's Donald Trump. And you're going to see him with grimace. This is the icing on the cake. Trump talking about purple.
But this thing you've pulled off, it's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret? You're a man of few words. I like that.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because you can get a delicious, beefy, big and tasty or a McChicken sandwich for just $1 every day at McDonald's.
Purple. Very, very powerful.
Purple. Very, very powerful. And here we are, full circle, in the age of lavender, the purple rain. That was 2002, you guys. What is that, 22 years ago? And here we are. All right, I'm back in the chat. That's pretty much what I wanted to show you. There was a playlist with over 200 and something McDonald's ads. I got through about half of them, which brought us through to the year 2002, as you just saw. And I decided to stop there, not to say there wasn't more symbolism after that, but I like to go back in time because they were a little bit more sloppy back then, weren't they? Because people weren't as smart, people weren't as awake. But I think we can all admit that some of those oldest vintage Ronald McDonald's commercials was essentially child grooming. Putting the buns in his lap so that the child would have to reach around the waist. I mean, what kind of madness is this? How did nobody see this? Telling the child to talk to strangers as long as they're dressed in clown outfits? Wow. Thanks, Risen and Alive. Yes, we covered the track down thing in high detail right after we heard about it. We didn't find it originally, but the track down thing is well known now. It's a Western episode from 1958 in which a man named Trump literally built a wall and he sold umbrellas to help protect people from the end of the world. And of course, the umbrellas are the syringe, the needle. So yeah, we covered that in very high detail. I think we were the only ones that found that the umbrella and the syringe were synonymous. So that was another aspect to the 1958 Western. And then the other aspect that we found that no one else found was the number 58, the year that it came out, and all the synchronicities of the number 58. That Trump built Trump Tower 33 years before he became president. It opened, and that it has 58 stories. And he would go on to win the 58th presidential quadrennial election 58 years after 1958. Mar-a-Lago also has 58 bedrooms, and there's a Quantum Leap episode that is set in the year 1958 in which Trump appears in the back of a taxi cab with his father, Fred. That episode takes place on Trump's mother's birthday, May 10th. So yeah, we covered all that. Most of what you'll hear out there, we've already covered. Not to say that we get everything, but a lot of the stuff we're actually finding. And then it gets spread out there, but then people forget where it came from. And that's okay, as long as it's out there. But yes, the Western is well known on this channel. But thanks for the question. Appreciate that. All right, I'm back in the chat, you guys. Yeah, this is going to get really weird, you guys. I believe he will win. You know, for those people that are worried still and think that, who think that all this still matters, who thinks that the rich and powerful of the world, that control everything, that have computers so sophisticated that they can create algorithms to control everything. For for those people that still think that they would leave the fate of the free world up to a chance vote by uninformed Americans. If we really think that that's where we're at in history, where they would really allow that to happen, the fate of the free world up to a chance vote, then I think we're still asleep. Our vote does not count. It doesn't even matter. The only thing it does is put you on a list so that they can continue to market to you, to continue to divide you from other people. You know, I haven't been registered to vote in many, many, many years. And finally, I stopped getting all these Republican ads and where do you want your ballot sent and donate to Donald Trump. But up until a couple years ago, I was getting all that stuff in email. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to pop off of here. 4 years from election day, 4 years from the 5th of November, when Donald Trump wins, which I think he will, we will have a live show and it will be called the 4-year anniversary. And we will take stock just like we did 4 years after Donald Trump was no longer president. And I told you we would do that. And then what I did is I played back some of the videos from the beginning of his presidency and what I told you was going to happen during his presidency. It got pretty specific. It got scary specific. Like we talked about a pandemic. We talked about that things would not be resolved. We talked about the division that was going to happen. We talked about the duality. Before any of that happened, we were doing videos on that at the very beginning of his presidency. And this is when we got a lot of heat from a lot of people because they're like, wait a minute, you're conservative. You should be happy Trump's president. I'm like, you don't understand. They're all on the same side. I'm going to go dig up some of those old videos from 2016, 2015. And maybe I'll put together a montage and you can see how accurate we were about what was to come over the next 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency. Now, the rhetoric sounded great under Trump's first 4 years, didn't it? It was fully aligned with most conservative values, wasn't it? But we have to look at the actions. We have to look at the actions. So I'm going to go back and look through all those old videos, put together a montage for you guys. So you can see we don't just shoot from the hip here. We do our best to try to put our finger on the pulse and be led by the Holy Spirit so that we're not deceived. I love each and every one of you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.